most powerful truth that can transform your life, your results, and the way you operate every single day. Discipline is not about punishment. It is not about restriction. It is not about forcing yourself to do things you hate. Discipline is the bridge, the absolute bridge between your potential and your results. Without discipline, potential is nothing more than wasted energy, unfulfilled talent, and dreams that never materialize. You can have the brightest ideas, the boldest vision, and the deepest desire. But if you cannot master discipline, those dreams will remain fantasies, scattered and unrealized. Discipline is the invisible force that turns intention into action, action into habit, habit into excellence, and excellence into results. And here's the truth most people miss. It is available to everyone, but few are willing to claim it. Most people misunderstand what discipline really is. They think it's about rigidity, about harsh rules, about saying no to everything that brings them joy. That is a lie. True discipline is freedom. Freedom from chaos, freedom from regret, freedom from indecision, freedom from inconsistency. It is the structure that allows your talent to thrive, your vision to manifest, and your life to expand in ways you never imagined. Without discipline, life drifts. Without discipline, small obstacles derail you, comfort lures you into mediocrity, and distractions rob you of your power. But when you commit to discipline, something incredible happens. You create certainty, you gain control, and you accelerate your results beyond what you thought was possible. Discipline begins with clarity. You cannot be disciplined in a vacuum. You cannot act consistently without knowing what you are acting toward. Most people apply effort randomly, chasing motivation, reacting to circumstances, and hoping things will work out. That is chaos, not discipline. Discipline begins when you define your outcome. It begins when you decide exactly what you want and commit to pursuing it with focus. It begins when you set standards for yourself that are non-negotiable, and when you refuse to compromise those standards. No matter how tempting the shortcuts or distractions might be, the more clearly you see your vision, the easier it becomes to remain disciplined in pursuit of it. Clarity fuels discipline. Without it, effort dissipates. And let me tell you something most people never realize. Discipline is about doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Motivation is fleeting. Inspiration comes and goes. Feeling like taking action comes and goes. But discipline is non-negotiable. Discipline is showing up when you are tired, when the results are invisible, when the world is screaming for your attention elsewhere. Discipline is persistence in action, repeated day after day, moment after moment, until you are no longer defined by your impulses, but by your standards. That is the superpower that separates the successful from the average, the high achievers from the dreamers. Think about the people you admire most in life, the champions, the leaders, the creators, the ones who seem unstoppable. Do you think they woke up every day motivated, perfectly inspired, with everything going their way? Absolutely not. They succeeded because they developed discipline. They created routines and systems that allowed them to act consistently, regardless of mood, weather, circumstance, or obstacle. They did not rely on motivation or willpower alone. They built momentum through repetition, through habit, through relentless commitment. That is the lesson. Discipline is not about feeling like it, it's about doing it anyway. Over and over, even when you fail, even when you stumble, even when no one is watching. Discipline also requires courage. Most people avoid discipline because it is uncomfortable. Discipline asks you to delay gratification, to resist temptation, to choose what is important over what is easy. Most people choose comfort over growth, ease over excellence, avoidance over action. But the disciplined person steps into discomfort every single day. They embrace the challenge of mastery because they know that greatness is built in the moments when no one else is willing to act. Discipline is courage in motion. It is the willingness to endure temporary discomfort to create long-term power. Here's another thing most people misunderstand. Discipline is not about perfection. It is not about never failing. It is about consistency. It's about showing up again and again in spite of fear, fatigue, or frustration. Every time you resist the urge to quit, every time you push past discomfort, Every time you act when you don't feel like it, you are strengthening the muscle of discipline. And over time, those small victories compound. They build momentum, energy, and confidence. They reinforce identity. They create unstoppable habits that define who you are. Discipline is deeply tied to identity. The person who disciplines themselves in thought, in emotion, in action becomes someone who cannot be shaken by circumstance. They become someone whose word means something, whose actions reflect their standards, whose presence commands respect. Every time you exercise discipline, you are telling yourself, I am capable, I am committed, I am in control. And over time, those repeated choices solidify into a new identity. You stop negotiating with mediocrity. You stop settling for what is convenient. You stop allowing excuses to dictate your life. Discipline becomes who you are, not just what you do. Discipline also amplifies your influence and your impact. The world responds to those who deliver, who act consistently, who bring order where others bring chaos. Discipline earns trust, creates credibility, and builds authority. When you are disciplined, people know they can rely on you. Organizations, families, teams, and communities gravitate toward disciplined people because they produce results, solve problems, and create momentum. Discipline is not just personal power, it is relational power. It allows you to lead, inspire, and elevate those around you. Another critical aspect of discipline is the compounding effect of small, repeated actions. Most people underestimate the power of tiny, consistent behaviors over time. One disciplined decision, one committed action, repeated daily, builds massive momentum. This is why high achievers do not rely on inspiration or occasional bursts of energy. They build systems, routines, and habits that ensure action regardless of emotion. They understand that success is not about one giant leap. It is about the compound effect of small, disciplined steps taken consistently. And discipline creates freedom. The paradox is beautiful. The harder you commit to structure, rules, and standards now, the more freedom you create later. Discipline frees you from indecision, chaos, and reactive living. It frees you to pursue what matters most, to act with clarity, to operate from power rather than need. It gives you control over your life because you have created the internal systems that support your highest potential. The disciplined person is not a prisoner to circumstance. They are the master of their destiny. Discipline also shapes resilience. Life is unpredictable. Challenges arise. Obstacles appear. Most people falter when the unexpected hits, but disciplined people persist. They have trained themselves to respond, not react. They have cultivated the strength to maintain their standards, habits, and actions under pressure. They have built a foundation so strong that temporary adversity cannot derail them. Discipline makes you unshakable because it develops mental toughness, emotional control, and operational consistency. And here's the most important truth. The cost of not being disciplined is far greater than the effort it takes to cultivate it. Every moment you procrastinate, every time you give in to distraction, every decision made from convenience rather than purpose carries a cost. That cost is wasted potential, lost opportunity, unfulfilled dreams, and quiet regret. Discipline is the antidote. Discipline is the bridge that allows you to cross from intention to reality, from desire to achievement, from potential to results. It is the mechanism by which ordinary lives are transformed into extraordinary ones. Start with small victories. Discipline is built in tiny, consistent actions. Completing tasks, honoring commitments, controlling impulses, choosing priorities over distractions. These small wins compound into habits, and habits become identity. Every action reinforces your standard. Every victory strengthens your confidence, your momentum, and your capacity. As you grow in discipline, you grow in power, influence, and freedom. Discipline is also about emotional mastery. The disciplined person does not react impulsively to frustration, fear, or discomfort. They respond intentionally. They control their state, channel their energy, and make decisions from clarity rather than chaos. Discipline allows you to harness your emotions' wrath, then be a slave to them. It allows you to act with precision, purpose, and power even in the most challenging circumstances. And over time, discipline compounds into extraordinary results. Every choice, every action, every habit builds upon the last. The disciplined person creates unstoppable momentum. They rise above mediocrity, resist distractions, and take consistent, focused action toward their goals. Motivation may come and go, but discipline sustains achievement. It builds a life defined by excellence, integrity, and purpose. Discipline is the ultimate power. It transforms potential into results, dreams into reality, chaos into mastery. It builds confidence, amplifies influence, strengthens identity, and compounds into freedom. The moment you commit to discipline, embrace it, and apply it relentlessly, your life changes. Your results expand, your power grows, your confidence soars, and you step into the life you were always capable of creating. Discipline is your superpower. It is the force that shapes identity, builds momentum, and guarantees results. Commit to it today, practice it every day, and watch your life transform in ways you never imagined. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary, between dreams and reality, between mediocrity and mastery, is discipline. Pure, unwavering, relentless discipline.